If you recall, the first problem was about a party, okay? Party. And they were going to have pizza and pans of pasta. And so we came up with the equations. One was a money equation. So we put all the money amounts in there with our X and Y. And the other one was kind of like amounts, like how many people and how many pieces does it feed, all right? Then we set up those two equations and we decided that elimination was the best way to get rid of one of the variables. And that looks like where we finished. So we were multiplying -2 times the second equation to try to eliminate. So we did not finish writing the entire equation out. So -2 times 12y is going to be -24y. And -2 times 75 is going to be -150. Okay? Now, Bear, I know you're eager to get started on review, but I want you to take out, does she hear me? Take out your notes. Yeah. Can you put your backpack down too, please? All right. So here I have my opposites. Make sure when you are adding these opposites that they do have different signs. One's going to be positive, one's going to be negative. We cancel these out. And what is 26 plus -24? What is that number? 2? 2y, right? So 2y is equal to, what is 160 plus a -150? 10. And so divide by 2, y is equal to 5. That is only part of the answer, right? So y is my pans of pasta. Pans of pasta. Good morning. Do you have a pass? Did you ride a bus that was late? Okay. So 5 pans of pasta. That is the first number that I need. Now, once I have that 5, I'm going to substitute that back in. And I'm going to pick the one that has the smaller number or coefficient in front of the y. So I'm talking about this one. My choices are 12 times y or 26 times y. So I am going to pick this equation to substitute 5 into. All right, so over here I'm going to say 5 times x plus 12 times y, which is 5, is equal to, 75. Okay, so 5x plus 60 equals 75. Subtract 60 from both, and 5x is equal to 15. So x is equal to how much? 3. I'm going to ask you guys a question. Do you feel like you need me to put divide by 5, divide by 5? You don't need that anymore. You know that? Okay. So x is equal to 3. X is the number of pizzas. So I have 5 pans of pasta and 3 pizzas. So these two girls, I think, well, I don't know the girls, Amy and Corey. Corey could be a guy. They're having this party, and based on the information they give of having 75 people and a max of $160, they are going to end up buying 5 pans of pasta and 3 pizzas. Now, I did not put this as an ordered pair. Why not? Is that going to be helpful to this kind of problem? To say, oh, we need 5 comma, or we need 3 comma 5? No, we're talking about a real life problem. So we just have to label what it is we're talking about. Does that make sense? Okay. Any questions about that top problem? Good morning. Okay, so let's go to the second one. And those of you just coming in, know we did not do bell work. I'm going right to the notes. And then after the notes, you guys will work on the review. So number 2 was about a quilt maker who sewed large and small quilts. We knew the large quilts took 8 yards of fabric, small quilts took 3, and she used a total of 90. So my first equation was all about yards of fabric. Yards of fabric, okay? So the 8 yards for every large, 3 yards for every small quilt, and a total of 90. Then, and this one is hard for students, the second one just talked about the amount of quilts, period. Well, we knew she could make a total of 15, so we knew that was going to be at the end, but then we were like, okay, what do I multiply with the L and with the S? But when you looked at it, L was actually the number of large quilts she was making already. So the number of large quilts, L, plus the number of small quilts, S, gave us that total. All right? Now, they are set up. We could do substitution. We could subtract S from both sides and get L equals 15 minus S. We could substitute S or 15 minus S in here, but we could also do something else, okay? What could I do to eliminate either my L or my S variable? Yeah, you've got 3S right here, right? So let's do something to make this negative 3S. And he said, Cristobal said, let's multiply by negative 3. That doesn't seem so bad, right? Okay, so multiplying all of this by negative 3, I get negative 3L. Negative 3 times S is minus 3S. Equals negative 3 times 15 is going to be negative 45. Put just a single line through that equation that you just multiplied by, because we don't want to be adding that. All right, so box in your opposites. Here's 3S and negative 3S. Those cancel out. And then let's add the other ones together. Actually, why don't you guys do that? You see if you can finish and solve for L and then solve for S. Okay? I'll just come around and see how you're doing. Did you get a calculator? Well, let's just keep the math because my next class is going to have a test, so it'll be nice if they're already all out. Yeah. All right. So how are we making out? So when I add these together, 8L plus negative 3L should give you 5L equals, and 90 plus negative 45 should give you 45. Divide by 5 on both sides. L is equal to 9. How many got L equals 9? Very good. Are we done with the problem though? No, that's only the large quilt. So substitute that back in to one of the equations. One equation is a whole lot simpler than the other. I hope you use this one and substitute in. L is 9. 9 plus S is equal to 15. Take away 9. So small quilts are equal to 6. So again, this is a real life problem. I am not going to set it up as an ordered pair. You would just say she made 9 large quilts and 6 small quilts. Okay. Questions on that one? Do these seem to be getting a little easier? Maybe? Good. They're not so foreign anymore. All right, the last one. Last one. Talked about 2 kittens from the shelter. Sterling and Stella. Boy and a girl, maybe. So Sterling says when they first got him, well, if they first got him, put that amount at the beginning. 8 ounces is how much he weighed, and he's gaining 1 ounce every week. We don't know how many weeks he's going to do this, but every week so far. Stella, the girl, she started out at 12 ounces, and she is gaining a half an ounce, 0.5 ounces every week. So my X ends up going to be, X is going to be the number of weeks that we're looking at these 2 kittens, and Y, what is Y going to be? What is Y in this problem? How much they will weigh. So Y is their total weight at any time, and that is in ounces. Okay, so how would I do this problem? I have Y equals 8 plus 1x. Y equals 12 plus 0.5x. Maybe if I write it down, Y equals 8 plus 1x. And yes, maybe we should put the 1x first, but in the problem, she started with that weight, so it's okay. And then for Stella, Y equals 12, that's what weight she started with, plus 0.5x. Okay. So as you think about this, you have Y isolated already, correct? So I don't see a graph. We're not going to graph it. I do have Y isolated. Y for the first equation is equal to this. And if Y is equal to that and Y is equal to this, I'm going to substitute this amount in place of that Y. So you set them both equal to each other, those X amounts. So this doesn't have to be elimination. This would be substitution. We are substituting in. We are saying this Y amount, which is 8 plus 1x, is equal to the other Y amount, 12 plus 0.5x. We got x's on both sides. We've got numbers on both sides. We need to get x's to one side. Take away the smaller amount of x. You got a half an x and you have an x. So I'm going to take away 0.5x. Take away 0.5x. That cancels out. You have 8. And 1x minus half an x is still going to be half an x. That's 0.5x. And that's equal to 12. I need to get rid of this 8 because I'm trying to solve for x. So subtract 8, and 0.5x is equal to 4. Divide by 0.5, and x is equal to how much? Everybody probably needs to do that one. Should be 8. Now, x is the number of weeks, so keep that in mind. All right, now I need to substitute that in for either one. I'm not going to put it in with the one with the decimal, so I'm just going to substitute it back into the first one and say y is equal to 8 plus 1 times 8. So y is equal to 8 plus 8, which is 16. And that is the total weight, so that is 16 ounces. So the question says, when will the kittens weigh the same? How much will they weigh? My answer would be after 8 weeks, comma, they will weigh 16 ounces at the same time. Okay? So again, if you have y equals something and y equals some other something, set those two somethings equal to each other, solve for x, sub it back in, solve for y. Questions about any of these three problems? Okay, so for the rest of the time, I want you to be working on this review